Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, Chrissie, to say I doubt people stand up to something, I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, all the places where fine podcasts are sold or played for free. It's all good. Guys, I got a bunch of shows coming up. I am so excited. The Grift Tour has been going so well. We had a couple of great shows in New York City this past Saturday. We got more coming up. Guys, if you're in Staten Island, you're in luck. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to Pete Davidson country. I'll be in Staten Island headlining the Reef at Paradise Island Friday, April 7th. Then I'll be in Morris Plains Saturday, April 8th at Tiff's Ale House. Keanu Thompson will be opening for me at both of these shows, by the way. Then I'm heading to Vegas Thursday, April 27th. This is the day after the Geeks and Gamers Friday Night Tights meetup, which is Wednesday, the 26th at the Millennium Fandom Bar. So if you're going to be in town for that meetup, come to my show. The tickets are selling like hotcakes. They're flying. They're flying for the show. Who knows if they'll give me a late show? Get the tickets for the 7 o'clock just in case. Thursday, April 27th at the Space. It'll be super fun. Lila Hart is opening for me there. Then we're heading to Dallas. I'll be doing Alex Stein's show earlier in the week, and then I'm headlining Hyenas in Dallas Friday, May 5th, Saturday, May 6th. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Get your tickets now. Alex Stein will be stopping by to do a few spots that weekend, and Lila Hart will be opening for me as well. Then I'm heading to Richmond, Virginia to headline the Sandman Comedy Club Wednesday, August 9th. And then we got Anime Matsuri August 10th through the 13th in Houston. I'm headlining that same weekend, Friday, August 11th at the Secret Group. Come on out. It's always good to have plans for after the convention. Bring your cosplay, bring your comic books, whatever, man. Just come hang. It'll be fun. The party will continue after the show as well, I'm sure. All good times. And again, if you have a comedy club near you that you would like me to perform at, tag them, tag me on Twitter. If you're not a Twitter person, email the club, call the club, let them know I exist. Because I don't have a fancy agent or manager, pimping me around. So I need you, the viewer, to pimp me, guys. Pimp me out. And thanks again for all you do. I'm so excited to have this gal back on the show. It's been a while. I feel so much has happened. We have so much to catch up on. She is one of my all-time favorite conservative hotties, one of my all-time favorite Twitter trolls. She's out here pushing buttons. She's out here kicking beehives. She's out here triggering multi-mega celebrities like Iggy Azalea. We'll cover it all today. Welcome back to the show, Isabella Riley Moody. Hello.
Hello, Chrissie. It's been way too long, but I'm so excited to be back and to catch up.
Way too long. Moody was never your last name, was it? Or it's just a part of your show?
Oh, it actually is my husband's last name that I took, which is like the perfect name for my show and a perfect last name for a moody biatch like myself.
God, for real? So your for real last name is Moody now. That's so cute because it actually makes a really good stage name.
I know. Meant to be.
Oh my God. It's good. It's good that you don't end up with initials that spell out like IBS or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm always worried about having weird initials. Like if
I know. Or like NIG.
Yeah. Now oh my gosh. Yeah, the chat is triggered. Some people didn't know you were married, Isabella. When did this happen? You're in a whirlwind romance. I can tell. You're glowing.
Yes, glowing, I got married in October to Josiah Moody, and yeah, it's been great. We didn't have an extravagant wedding because actually a stance I've always held is that weddings are a huge waste of money, as are engagement rings. It's all a show to impress everyone
Wow.
else. I don't want to spend a fortune wasting it on feeding a bunch of people, pleasing a bunch of people. A marriage is for you guys, and so that's what we did. We eloped, and his grandfather married us at his church, and it was great, and that's all I could have ever asked for. And I called my parents after the fact.
They didn't know?
No, I mean, we were kind of warning them, and they were like, really, Isabella, really? And then they were like, oh, you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do. That's always how you've been. And we moved on.
Wow, that's awesome. And you know what? I really, as someone who is planning a wedding, kind of really totally see what you're saying, because when you are planning a wedding, they give you there's like this flow chart of how to figure out who to invite. And it's like, okay, do you work with them? Like, yes or no? Would you hang out with them outside of work? Like, yes, no. And then you follow it through. And then it's like, oh, would you buy a meal for this person? And then that follows you down to an answer. Like, if the answer is no, like if you wouldn't hang out with them outside of work, don't invite them. If you wouldn't like buy them a meal of food, don't invite them. And then there was another one updated for 2023. Do they still wear a mask alone in their car? Yes or no? And if it's yes, then no, you don't invite them.
Is that a joke?
Yeah, that's a joke.
Okay, good. You never know. Like today, like the trolling can be seen as true because everything is so retarded hard R these days.
For real. I definitely will not be inviting anybody who wears a mask alone in their car. I think it would be funny if I did something like if I had an usher being like, are you vaccinated or unvaccinated? And then they'll be like, I'm vaccinated. I'll be like, you can leave. No.
Right. Yeah,
like, how does it feel? Let's say
that's what you should do. Yeah, that's a good idea.
But that's so cute. I love that you're in this like whirlwind romance. How did you meet your husband?
Well, he was the producer on Slightly Offensive. So that's kind of how I knew him. And it's funny because I was moving to the Fort Worth, Dallas area when he was already here and moving here. And he was like, when we were just friends, he was like, oh, we should just get like an apartment together. And I was like, yeah, right. Like I like to live alone. And little did I know we'd end up living together and married. I had no idea. He called it though a long time ago. I'm pointing here because he's right here. So if anyone's wondering, who is she pointing at? My husband right here.
He's right there.
I should have listened to him then. And now as his wife, I always do listen to him because I am a submissive wife. I used to always tweet about being a trad wife. Now I'm living the life and I serve my husband like I always tweeted about.
You're walking the walk, Isabella. Have you rushed into relationships before in the past?
Well, I had like a long-term relationship before, but it's funny because he would want to marry me and I would tell him, don't buy me an engagement ring because I don't want to marry you, which sounds kind of harsh, but I just knew I wasn't meant to marry him. And with Josiah, I was like, we were friends for even just a few months, dating not too long. And I just knew, and I really do believe that was from God. And, I've since been saved. I used to be a hardcore atheist and now I'm Christian. And I really do believe it was God giving me that strength and reassurance to know this is my husband and to feel comfortable marrying him, which is something I didn't feel comfortable when I was in a relationship for multiple years.
That's how it goes. Sometimes you can date somebody for years and then you think you're waiting and waiting. You're like, I guess this is the next logical step. And then you break up or you see these relationships all the time, like especially with celebrities because they make them so public. It's like, oh, they dated this person forever.
Right.
And then you figure, oh, I guess they just don't want to get married. Then they meet a new person. Boom. They're like married right away. And you're like, oh, okay. It was just that dynamic. And then like with me and my fiance, we were together for years. I didn't want to get married at first. I was really afraid of it because my parents had the world's worst marriage. And I just was like, oh, I don't want to be like that. Like they take each other for granted. They don't build each other up. And then I realized, okay, well, we're not them. So That's so great though. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
There's going to be a lot of very upset men on the internet. They probably already are.
Yeah, they can stay mad. They can go sim for Isabella DeLuca.
the next available Isabella.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you know if there was like a moment where you were like, oh, okay, like I want to be with this guy? Like when you knew you wanted to get married?
Yeah, I think it's like when he was telling me like we should just get married. And it was at that moment I was like, yeah, honestly, we should. And actually, he didn't ask me to get married. He did a very based thing, which I've never heard anyone else do. He said we're getting married. Like, he didn't get down on his knee and ask for my approval to get married. He was like, bitch, we're getting married. No, I'm kidding. That's not literally how he said it. But essentially, that's what happened. And I was like, wow, that's a very masculine thing to do. What's up with all these masculated men getting down on their knees like there's some OnlyFans horror to ask a woman's permission to marry him? Ew.
I think it goes back to the days of, I don't know, like that's literally the only time in their life they're gonna like get down on their knee. Like
Hopefully.
It's a sign that they're gonna be like, you know, serve their woman. It really should, like the serving each other should go both ways. And you don't like the one knee thing. That's okay. Everyone's different though.
Yeah. I don't like my husband on his knees.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Like,
my dishwasher is making a loud noise. Shut up, dishwasher.
Oh my God, I love this. It's so cute.
I know, it's so romantical.
It is so romantic. It's good though. But I'm sure you guys talked about, you know, like, you know, are you guys messy? Are you clean? Who likes which side of the bed? I mean, like you had to fast track all those important conversations.
Yeah, but you know, if you're in love and you actually want to make it work, you can make all of those things work. And so that's what we do. And I just listen to him. I do all the cooking. I do all the cleaning. I do all the wifely duties that I used to preach about on Twitter. And yeah, so it works out. And he's not too messy. He's not like a clean freak, but he's not too messy.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I might be more messy, but I have to clean it up anyways.
It's okay. It's as long as like, you know, it all comes out when you unclog the shower drain. Then you really know who's
true.
whose hair is to blame.
Right.
But my God. Okay, so you're married. That's huge. This was, some of you guys might think this is old news, but oh, Isabella, are you going through your mic? I wonder
I'm going through like I have like a mic attached. Yeah.
Okay, maybe check your settings. I wonder if it is
okay. Let me check.
Not set up. I should have, like a professional, checked this in the beginning.
It says it is.
Okay.
Is it not loud enough? Like I can make it louder.
It is loud enough. It just sounds a little echoey. Yeah. You can hear your background noise, but it'll be all right. Yeah. Check speaker and then choose your microphone.
Well, it's because it's coming on my speaker. I always do interviews like this, though. Is it that bad? I could put headphones in, but it's pretty ugly.
You're like my hair.
No, seriously, like I look so bad. When I was on Timcast, I've never looked uglier in my life.
Was that recently?
Yeah, it was when was that? February?
Was it after the Iggy Azalea drama or before?
No. Before, yeah.
Ooh.
Before my moment, I know.
That was so exciting, Isabella. How, and then for some of you guys, you're like, oh, this is old news. This was so a couple weeks ago. But we, you know, I haven't been able to catch up with Isabella since. So how did this drama with Iggy Azalea start? Because all of a sudden, I opened my Twitter one day and I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe to see you guys going back and forth. Like for you, I fully expected it because like you love to trigger people, you love to troll. And then I was like looking at Iggy, I'm like, Iggy's got what, 8 million followers on Twitter. I'm thinking like, isn't she better than this? Like, why would she be like, you're not nobody. You've got like 90 plus followers, but you would think that someone that is so famous as her would it's just how I felt like when Chrissy Teigen responded to one of my tweets. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're not better than responding to me. Yeah, this was like a couple years ago. Because I think I said she like 8 babies or something. I wrote something wild and
yeah. Celebrities tend to do that. But yeah, Iggy, I mean, I guess I just found a video of hers on TikTok, or not of hers, but of her explaining how she felt so empowered doing OnlyFans, blah, blah, blah. I get to make money off my body rather than record labels, you know, the whole spiel. And I was just saying, like, my problem is it's not even just the OnlyFans girls, which are obvious, they're whores, whatever. But it's the fact that they're promoting it to young women, like telling them that you don't need a man, you don't need, I don't think women necessarily need a career, but like, why would a woman or a young girl who idolizes these celebrities, who look up to them as the role models, why would they want to go to school or like make their own money when they can make, she's like advocating for, or saying that she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Like, why would any girl want to work or find any other way or just get married or whatever? And it's just annoying that they're really pushing it onto young women. That's where I find the biggest problem is I keep seeing this trend, and women by nature are followers, so they tend to follow especially people they idolize, like these celebrities. But yeah, so I just tweeted out the video, and she just was going back and forth, and even asked my husband, tweeted out to send her a dick pic. Like,
It's
what?
so interesting. I think about OnlyFans a lot because I have a couple of close girlfriends who do it, and I feel like some women really are built to do, sex work. Some people don't consider that sex work. Some people do. It's like some people consider OnlyFans to be so much different than, say, like escorting. And then there's some people who can like justify, yeah, it's literally it's all under the same umbrella. I think probably someone like you or like Brittany Venti would think, yeah, but it's kind of all the same. It's all like, same shades of the same color, I guess.
Yeah.
And I realized, okay, some women truly are like built for this. They have the type of constitution where they can like, post photos or videos or have sex with whoever. But I know that not every woman really can. And I do think who I feel for are the women that are doing it that are not conscious of the fact that they are like giving away pieces of their soul, and they are not realizing it until like the kind of cumulative effects have sunk in. And that's who I really feel for. But like I look in their like, you think about being in their shoes. It is such crazy easy money. Like you could make 5-10 grand a month, like without even really trying. And I think like, you think about like, how are we going to convince like young women to not go for OnlyFans? Because it's basically being like, all right, well, it's morality, it's your soul, it's your relationship with God, whatever. And not to mention, okay, it may or may not hurt your chances of finding a husband if that's what you want eventually. Like some men will straight up not consider marrying a woman if she's done any bit of OnlyFans because they're like, oh, I don't want to be with someone where everyone can see her nudes, or like, or anyone's, she's been with a bunch of people or whatever it is. But it's like, how do you convince women to basically like not take the easy way out? Because it's easy money, it's easy attention, validation. It's like all the things that you need to feel like a strong, independent woman. It's literally like, it's like the perfect kind of, OnlyFans is like the perfect like feminist thing, because you don't need a man at all. You can buy your own house from it. But the long-term effects are what I think are damaging. So it's like, how do we as a society help to convince or make women see like, no, this is not the path? Because I know, like, especially if we're trying to reach younger women, they don't want to be preached to. They don't want to be told they're wrong. They don't want to be told like, oh, they're dumb sluts. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, how do you fix a problem with such short-term immediate benefits? How do you make somebody see like, no, this is worth turning away from so that you can have these long-term benefits? Do you know what I mean? I'm probably saying this poorly, but
Yeah.
it's so easy to like talk shit and to like rip on these people. But I'm like, how do we actually help to turn it around? Because it's so trendy. It's just so easy right now.
Well, I think part of the way we convince them is, first of all, just make them realize the consequences of it. But I mean, use their own motivations against them. So they're like, you're saying they could be an independent woman, which cringe, but I'm an independent woman. I don't need a man. But it's like, it's funny because they actually do need these men to give them that validation and money. So, and it's like, oh, these are the same women that will be like, don't objectify me, I'm an object. But then they literally objectify themselves, sell their body as a commodity online. So everything that they preach against and saying why they're doing this, they contradict themselves. Now, whether or not they can wrap their dumb brains around that, that's a whole nother story. But that's where I think we can start, is kind of using their motivations that urge them to do something like OnlyFans against them. Because again, they need a man to do this, and they're not independent because they're reliant on the men. And guess what? One day, girls, you're going to be old, you're going to be wrinkly, you're going to be an old hag, and no man's going to want to buy your nudes, and you have zero skills to enter the workforce. And also, why would a man want you to marry you at that point?
Right. It's like you're trading your immediate, like whether it's validation or I guess your best kind of dating years, you're finding a mate years, if that is what you want. Like, who has it the worst? It's like the women who don't even think, or they don't realize till much later on, like, oh shit, I really do want to get married and settle down and have kids, but I've been doing OnlyFans for 15 years. And it sounds so superficial, but like, yeah, men would generally rather date somebody younger. And if they're a guy who is turned off by someone who does any kind of sex work, it's like you've just ruled yourself out of the running there. So
Yeah, it's
I don't know,
sad.
maybe it's like,
Yes.
right, like people who have daughters, it's really getting that conversation early, like, do you want to get married? But like it's so tricky because like I know like my mom was still alive, she'd be like, so Chrissy, like, oh, you're gonna like she'd be like, when are you gonna get married? But she would say that at times when I wasn't even dating somebody good. Like I knew she would kind of push it on me, but the conversation and the discussion of the values was never there for me. I just sort of felt like, okay, like a nagging feeling like, okay, obviously your parents want grandkids, but I know no one ever really talked to me about like why it's important. And I guess I think as I get older, I think I want to save younger women from, I guess, like wasting too many years of their life. But it's so tricky because it's like, how do you say no to like, yeah, stop making $10,000 a month and go be an administrative assistant and make 30 to 35 grand a year and get treated like shit. But to your point, Isabella, it's so true. Like when I see women being like, oh, I'm just never going to need a man. It's like, you either need a man to like, right, chip into your OnlyFans, or there's a lot of single women who are like, oh, I'm never going to get married. I don't need a man, don't want a man. But they work 45, 60 hours a week for their male boss, serving him, submissive to him in the ways that a wife basically is to a husband. Yet there's so much judgment from like the working women to the women that decide to stay home. And it's like at the end of the day, I personally feel like you're going to be working for some man, because I just look at all the jobs I've had and I felt resentful towards all of those bosses. It's, at least with a husband, it's like, okay, this person is personally invested in you and is not just going to like fire you at the first sign of something difficult.
Yeah, and like your husband loves you and is committed to you and wants to work extra to provide a home for you and to protect you. And at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, is your corporate boss going to be there? No, your husband, your kids, your family are going to be there. And what's funny is I was on a Jubilee Middle Ground episode as an anti-feminist, and one of the girls'
What's
moms was like,
Jubilee?
Jubilee, it's like this, I don't know, huge YouTube channel, honestly, where they bring on like 4 people on one side and 4 people on the other. So I was one of the anti-feminists and I was arguing against feminists. Ariel Scarcella was on with me.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun, but one of the girls that was an anti-feminist talked about her mother who actually like ran Planned Parenthood in Africa, and she was a feminist her entire life, and now she's on her deathbed and said that I wish that I actually didn't live this lifestyle because now I'm realizing that I missed out on all the years raising the kids. She completely emasculated her husband and had zero respect for him. And it's just sad. And this girl was just explaining how crazy it was for her mom to actually admit this after being a hardcore feminist who ran Planned Parenthood in Africa. And that's just what people don't realize. And that's the sad reality that comes to an end of this. So yeah, I might seem harsh, but at the end of the day, I actually think it's more harsh to be promoting a lifestyle that's going to lead women to misery, because at the end, they're going to end up getting older and wanting to settle down and want to have kids. You look at someone like Chelsea Handler, who clearly looks miserable even behind all of her jokes. I would argue that she's miserable. And I don't know, it's just sad. It's just very sad to me.
But Isabella, she has so much money. She's able to go. She even made a video where she could go skiing naked whenever she wants. She can climb mountains whenever she wants. She can travel. She can go have a croissant in Paris right now if she wants. Did you see that video that I'm talking about where and clearly like she does this to trigger the right, to trigger conservatives, to have somebody like Tucker Carlson commenting on and playing her video, like that's her goal, because she is selling her brand is single women that are older, that are like embracing their singlehood. I mean, at this point she kind of has no choice but to embrace it. Like it's exactly, she's kind of painted herself into a corner. I think like she's had boyfriends. I think she was dating like this comedian Joe Coy for a while. Who knows, maybe she still is, but she is selling her brand to other single, lonely 35 plus women, and she wants those women to all buy tickets like to see her. You know, as soon as that video came out, I was like, I bet she's on a tour right now. And sure enough, she is. She's got all these dates. And then you see conservatives like, and I'm like, even myself, like I was like, oh, look at her. She's gotta be miserable. Like, why does she feel the need to like shoot this whole video? But at the end of the day, she's she is selling something. And I'm like, let's not be mad at Chelsea Handler. Like it's very easy to be a single feminist woman when you are a millionaire, when you're rich. But the average woman looks at that and goes, oh my God, Chelsea Handler's my idol. Meanwhile, they're working a draining 9-to-5 job. They don't have a ton of savings. Like they can't just jet set. They can't just travel. They don't own a home by themselves. Like they're renting, or there's like most people are struggling. So I think similar to Iggy Azalea, she's probably making millions on OnlyFans, and that is such a small percentage of women. I think I saw a few people in the chat saying like, the average chick on OnlyFans is maybe making like a few $100 a month or so. I don't know, I have to recheck like the stats, but when you look up to these celebrities as your example of how to live your life and what values to have, it's, you get kind of, it's a bit of a delusion, because you're not going to make as much as Iggy Azalea. You're not going to make as much as Chelsea Handler. And ultimately, like most of us do need a man, because like we build each other up. You just need a partner in this life to help you with your own goals, starting a family and all that stuff. And I just think people forget that these people are just massively rich, and that's why they're able to like just do whatever the fuck they want and live outside of the traditional system.
Yeah, but even if they are rich, like how fun are all these vacations if you're spending them alone or just with like platonic friends? I mean, I don't know. I feel like you still want to be able to share your life with someone, and you don't really, I mean, I don't have kids yet, but you don't really know the joy of having kids and sharing that with kids and a family until you have that. And I mean, it's her life. She can do what she wants, and we can criticize it and talk about it as much as we want. I too commented on her video. I think every conservative online did. But I did see it was obviously her like just being obnoxious and trolling and just trying to piss people off, which is precisely what I do all the time. So I definitely saw that. I think some of the outrage was a little cringe on the right. It's like she literally like was waiting for this response, and everyone gave it to her, including myself. But yeah, I mean, even with all that money, you're living that life alone. How fulfilling is that? Like you can eat all the croissants you want yourself, but is that what's going to give you a fulfilling life? I don't think so, unless you're a fat whale.
And then even like Seth Rogen and his wife, and these people are so preachy about it. That's what makes me think they're not necessarily as happy as they pretend to be, because there has to be a press release about it. There has to be a press release about how Seth Rogen is so happy he and his wife never had kids. It's like, if you really are just content, like why does it need to be an article? Like why do we need to be reading about it? And I look at him and I go, yeah, it's probably for the best that his genes didn't get passed on. Like, and that we don't have to hear like anybody else with that dumb laugh. Like we don't have to have little kids running around going, just, I kind of can't stand his laugh.
True. We don't need more dumb, annoying laughs in the world. That's for sure.
We don't. And
or trannies.
How did this drama with Isabella? My God, I think there might have been a couple of articles that I saw about this drama between you and Iggy Azalea, because you guys had a lot of back and forth. The initial comment you were making was on her. It was like this video where she was like, I wasn't making any money off my body, and now I'm the one making money off my body, and then we made fun of her accent because it sounded like she's saying my buddy because of her stupid Australian accent. And I think that's when you said, you shouldn't be encouraging young women to do this. And then, God, how did she respond? Did she immediately go to like, oh, your fucking dad likes it or something like that? Or did she just go and calling you?
Your husband likes it, whatever. And she responded to me like probably over 20 times. Like it was back and forth. It was hard to keep up with it.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
I know. And she also bragged about twerking on teenage girls, which imagine if that was like a male rapper, how that would be perceived by the public. Oh, he's a pedophile. He's a freak. She's still a pedophile for doing that. But imagine if roles were reversed with gender, because there's only two genders. I don't know, newsflash. I know that's a shocking statement. One of my favorite tweets, by the way, from conservatives is when they say there's only two genders, like a very groundbreaking take. Thank you, lukewarm conservatives. That's a little side note. But yeah, Iggy just kept going back and forth, and she clearly was triggered. And I looked up her Twitter circle, and I am a numero uno, her most engaged with person on Twitter. She's my number one fan. What can I say? She's learning.
Do you feel like you go extra harsh or extra trolling on people because you're trying to make a point? Like, how much of it do you feel like you're exaggerating to be funny, to make a point, versus like what you would genuinely say if you were face to face with her?
Do you want to answer this?
Yeah, get your
This is a good
husband
take because he talks
involved.
about this all the time.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
hope he's wearing pants.
Unfortunately for Iggy, he is wearing pants.
Aw.
Yeah, no, Isabella is impossible to read. So if she'll say something on Twitter that will mean absolutely nothing, like she'll call somebody a rhino who's like, I just want to be a trad happy wife, and she'll just say like, you're a rhino, and it's just like makes no sense, and you're like, what? But like that's the thing, is she wants people to like read into what she says, even whenever it doesn't mean anything, because that's like the troll aspect. So we can't really give you the key to if what's a troll, what's not, because that's the beauty of it, you know.
She wants you to think. Yeah, she wants you to think about like, oh my God, am I a rhino? Oh my God, am I putting off that vibe? And then
Yeah.
they spend the rest of the day thinking about it.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, I used to say I love pissing people off the most, but lately I just love confusing people. It's so much fun.
No, that's you. It's definitely working. I really commend you. I could only get Chrissy Teigen to respond to me once, but you guys
should
had
start tweeting at her.
20 back and forths. Yeah, she blocked me. It's all good. And I appreciate the point you brought up about like you're actually making this look glamorous to young girls, you know, similarly to a lot of mostly young girls, but you know, like young boys too, but young girls in particular, like you said, they are followers. They are so, especially in their like younger kind of like middle school, high school years, like they are particularly vulnerable to follow a social contagion. I don't know, like the trans movement or OnlyFans or like any of these kind of like popular trends that can have longer lasting effects. And that was interesting. Did Iggy end up blocking you?
Oh no. I'm
Okay,
still
no.
Yeah, no blocking. We were trying to get her in a Twitter space, but she wouldn't join. She was a little scared, but oh yeah, also my husband's reminding me I did get into a little Twitter fight with Piers Morgan today.
Yes, thank you. This is going to be my next topic. I'm going to bring it up.
Sorry.
Thank you, husband, for reminding us. Yeah, because you said
right there.
guns don't kill people, evil people kill people. And then Piers Morgan tweeted you and said, with guns. Whoa.
He's a simp for gun laws, I guess. I don't know. It's so strange because I mean,
Did
it's
he
so
follow you, or did he?
No,
just
I
came
follow
across?
him. He doesn't follow me
Okay.
back because he's a rhino. Again, such a rhino. It's insane. A British rhino at that. But it's just funny because, you know, his original
rhino.
tweet, we don't like rhinos, but you know, whatever. The original tweet I was replying to was he was pretty much saying that the congressman for the district in Nashville where this terrible school shooting happened, look at this picture. This is what he uploaded with all these guns, and this is what happened in his district. And it's like, just because these people have guns does not mean it equates to what's happening or what happened, the tragic event in Nashville. And it's just, you know, there was a time my dad reminded me of this earlier. Ben Shapiro went on Piers Morgan years ago and he said, you're literally standing on the graves of these kids to push your political point. And that's precisely what he's doing here. He, you know, there's always the typical political response you see whenever there's a mass shooting. You pretty much know how the left's going to react. You pretty much know how the right's going to react. The politicization of this is impossible to go away from. And he was clearly being it. And I just, it's so basic to me. Like the person had to shoot someone. It makes no sense. It's like someone saying the spoon made me fat. Like, no, you decided to shove food in your mouth. You're fat because of it. It just makes zero sense. And I don't understand how there's people out there that actually think like that. However, I guess I do because I realize that we're surrounded by idiots. So
yeah. Pierce said yesterday 3 9-year-old children and 3 adults were murdered in the latest U.S. school mass shooting. The district in Nashville, Tennessee, is represented in Congress by Representative Andy Ogles. Oh my gosh, pronounce that right. This was his family's Christmas card last year, and it was him with his the wife and 3 kids are holding guns. I think I responded to this like, "Wow, I really love the purple one. Like, where can I get it in purple?"
Cute.
That was.
Yeah.
And then you were like, guns don't kill people, evil people kill people. And he had to have the final word by saying with guns, which I don't know. I always feel like when someone's I mean, I respond to people with 12 followers all the time. So what the hell do I know? But it's just like when you see someone so famous like Piers Morgan, 8.4 million followers responding to you, then you know you've had an impact.
I know, I guess so. So that's 2 celebrities in 2023. I'm like, You know, I actually tweeted out, which celebrity host should I target next? And some Fox News host tagged another Fox News host.
Who was it?
I don't even know their names. One of the guys that originally tagged the other guy, he has like no legs.
Okay.
They're like B-list Fox News hosts. They're not like Jesse Waters or something.
They're not on your
ones
level.
that like
Okay.
are probably go on the shows all the time. Like not just correspondents, but ones that always go on and stuff, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, maybe, I don't know, I might need to start targeting some more. No, I definitely need to start targeting some more celebrities because clearly they can't get enough of the Mother Teresa of our time.
Who do you think are some celebrities right now that are most triggerable / who do you see yourself triggering in 2023? If you could name I don't know, 3 or a couple people where you feel like, okay, they're primed for some Isabella triggering.
Well, probably like people like Cardi B and Chrissy Teigen who have been on Twitter fights with you and Candace Owens. I did tweet out that my Twitter fight with Iggy Azalea is the Walmart version of Cardi B versus Candace Owens, which I think is extremely true. I'm trying to think. I don't know many celebrities. Like I would have to be scrolling. Like I find all this stuff on TikTok. Like I have to scroll on TikTok, get through all the cat videos and find the whores to dunk on. So I don't even know, like maybe some TikTok whores, maybe some bisexual fake lesbian on TikTok I could find, because every single female TikTok star that's like a dance girl, they're all bisexual. They all have boyfriends, but they're all bisexual. It's almost like it's a trend or something. It's so weird. But I don't know. Do you have any suggestions? I don't really know many celebs.
Yeah, when I was back in my day, we didn't call it bisexual. We just called it being fun at parties. Okay. There wasn't a coming out. There was no B in the LGB. It's just like, oh, yeah, you had a few drinks and now you're fun. But now you got to be part of the alphabet squad. Yeah.
It's a gang.
It's interesting, especially with like the shooting that happened. And it's tricky to talk about it, particularly on YouTube. And I'm reminded of a conversation I had with James Lindsay, either a few weeks, must have been a couple months ago, and he was saying, because he looks at all this stuff, he closely kind of like analyzes LGBT sort of trends and the CRT stuff, and he's like, what I think is coming down the pike is some kind of a George Floyd situation, but for trans people. He's like, I think there's going to be like a trans Floyd. And there's going to be an uprising of like the T squad, like, oh my God, we've been so victimized, like our people are being, you know, whatever it is, murdered or something. And I look at some of these responses from the T community on social media, and I'm like, it's almost like they're just really like the way they were trying to force January 6th to be this horrible day full of violence. It's from some of these comments, it seems like they're really trying to force this issue of like a trans genocide or something like that. And I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm like, we don't, most conservatives, most Republicans, libertarians, like most people like don't fucking care. Like we're just like, everyone mind your own business. People get triggered when you fuck with their kids. Okay. People get triggered when you're trying to come out to a class of, you know, 4th graders. Like people get triggered when there's like pronouns written on a college application or something like that. When it's kind of insidious and seeping into daily lives, when it's like really unnecessary. It's a big virtue signal. It's just another piece of the communist sort of social credit score pie, I think. And I just feel like it's really trying to be, there's a lot of inflation going on of this idea that they're like, oh, everyone's coming for the trans people. And it's like, nobody's coming for you. Like we're kind of just backing away slowly, if anything.
Well, we should be coming for them, honestly, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, because, you know, I used to think like that, like, do what you want with your body, like, don't bother me, blah, blah, blah. But they're incapable of doing that. The slippery slope, Chrissy, is extremely slippery, and they can't just do it to themselves. They have to be grooming other people, trying to recruit young people to be part of their retardation, hard R. And I don't want any part of that. I don't think that we should be having people mutilate their own bodies. I find that it doesn't really help them. I also don't think there's anything conservative about transgenders in the conservative movement. It's Michael Malice, who I think you like a lot, and I've always liked Michael Malice. He says conservatism is progressivism driving the speed limit, and you see that all the time. And it's just whatever the left thinks or is pushing, conservatives will eventually come around to it. And it's how far will it go? It doesn't just stop. Once we agree with them on something like gay marriage or something, it doesn't stop there. they keep going, and they're going to keep going, and they are relentless. So I think the only way we actually stop this and prevent some of this madness is by pushing back and playing offense, finally, which conservatives by nature refuse to do, which is extremely frustrating.
Yeah. Of course, like a lot of conservatives will be like, we don't want to stoop to their level. Like, we don't want to do what the progressives are doing or what the liberals are doing. But it's like, in a sense, it's like you are going to be continually walked over and have your ass kicked, especially in the culture war. And it's like similarly with trying to get young girls to not really choose OnlyFans. It's like, well, how do you persuade somebody? Like, maybe they are a bit like mentally ill to begin with, not a good relationship with their parents, like whatever has to be going on in your life to be a young person who is, let's just say your parents aren't pushing you down the path. Like, let's say you are genuinely like a young person, middle school age, high school age, who genuinely does want to transition. Like, the last thing you want to be told by somebody older than you is like, oh, you're wrong, you're confused, it's a
They
fake,
are wrong.
it'll
They are
blow
wrong and
over.
confused.
But it's like they won't, like, I mean, we know how teenagers are. I just
They're
feel
dumb.
like it's tricky. They're dumb and they don't want to listen. They don't want to be told that they're wrong. They want to think they know everything. Similarly with like how the left treats like pushing environmentalism, pushing climate change, pushing like being obsessed with racism, like literally obsessing about an issue and not relenting. I see that similarly kind of like with the trans issue at the same time. Like, if you genuinely have someone who believes they're trans, like, you're not really going to talk them out of it right away. I guess the only thing we can really do is just try to put legislation in place that makes it harder to make these life altering surgeries, I guess, happen. But then you look at California is basically a trans utopia. I think they're trying to make Minnesota one as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're surrounded by the trannies. It's very sad. But I think we should hear more stories of detransitioners. Like, I forget her last name.
Right.
Chloe, there's lifelong consequences, like you mentioned. Like, you can't reverse these surgeries. Like, you may never be able to get pregnant. You may have a low voice for the rest of your life and have all this facial hair, and a lot of them regret it. So I think showing those stories. But yeah, you are right in the sense that some people, especially that are young and naive and just think that they know everything, they won't listen to your advice. However, I don't think that's a reason to stop telling them this. And we just need stronger parenting. And luckily and hopefully conservatives will outbreed the left and we have more babies on our side, because they're aborting their babies. They are just not wanting to have kids as much. They're more career oriented. They're single, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're more independent minded, like the women are. So hopefully we outbreed the left, which is what we truly need to be doing. That should be like campaign issue number 1 is outbreed the left.
Everybody listening to this podcast, go out and try to get pregnant tonight or impregnate someone if possible. I know it's only Tuesday, but
tomorrow's hump day.
Yeah, tomorrow's hump day. Exactly. Can we put the hump back in hump day, please?
I know. Dear conservatives, put the hump back in hump day.
I like that.
Love it.
It's true. Wait, we got some super chats. Thank you, Spectral Citizen, for becoming a new member. Monolithic Ethos. Isabella should get a Blue Yeti. Oh, that's a kind of microphone.
True. We'll see, Monolith. Nice seeing you.
What microphone are you using right now?
It's like Rockcat. I don't know. It works for my show. I don't know why it's having issues now. Because I do interviews for my show too. So usually it's fine, but maybe my ears don't really hear. Like, maybe someone that's more, tech minded can hear the echo that I don't hear.
I think you sound all right. Daniel Jagger, thanks for the super chat. Steve Bannon mentioned they may reboot The Daily Show and may cast Chelsea Handler as host. That doesn't surprise me at all. I think that was one of the hosts that they were kind of like trialing out. I think they were trying out like Leslie Jones. I think they were trying out Ray. Was his name Ray Woods? Roy Wood. I got open for him once, but
sound like a rhino.
That makes sense. That they would try to get her in for that job. Monolithic. Isabella should do stand up. Certainly, this isn't the first time you've been told this.
Weirdly, I don't want to sound cringe, but I've actually been told this a few times, and absolutely not. No offense, Chrissy, but women should not be doing stand up.
It is not a lifestyle that is friendly for women. It's really hard. It's pretty grueling. It's very unglamorous, but it's probably easier now to do it. and it would be easier for somebody like you to get into it, Isabella, than someone with no following who's not really online to do it the old way of just grinding out at open mics and taking 5 to 10 years to work your way up. Like I think people don't really want to do that anymore, but you probably could, honestly, like pull in enough of a crowd.
Oh, no, I would never do that.
Okay.
Never, ever.
Well, if you ever want to do 5 minutes, hit me up.
Okay.
I'll throw you on a show.
Okay.
K-Max, Chrissie and Isabella, often I would hear activists in the trans community claim conservatives who disagree with us wish us harm. In Tennessee, was this a case of projection? Who harmed who here? Good point, K-Max. To me, it seems from just the outside, like, yes, a trans person was, I mean, they targeted specifically a Christian school. And I heard a lot of people making the argument of like, oh, well, maybe they were molested or, they were PTSD or they're traumatized. But I'm like, I think the person was 28 years old. So that's not really enough of an excuse for me. Like, it's not like you're 17 or something or fresh out of school or like this just happened to you. It's like this person has had many years to process their trauma, to go to therapy, to fix themselves, to get that's the job of being an adult, is to help yourself, surround yourself with whatever help you need to heal yourself of your own trauma. It's not an excuse to just lash out.
And it's like, even if it just happened, sorry, two wrongs don't make a right. It's like abortion. Yes, rape is a terrible thing and it's awful, and whoever is the perpetrator should be castrated and, locked up for the rest of their lives or murdered horribly and raped themselves. I'm just kidding. Kind of
double raped.
Double rape rates are right. But it's like the innocent baby that's made is not actually the person that caused harm. These innocent school children, these Christian school children, and the 3 9-year-olds that were murdered and the 3 staff members at this Christian school, they had nothing to do with your trauma. You had everything to do with your trauma, this person. And she, the biological woman, taking testosterone and hormones. I bet that's a great mixture for her brain. But all this hormone replacement therapy and all this stuff that she was pumping in her retarded veins probably did not do her justice mentally.
Can you imagine there's like, okay, this is obviously a horrible situation, but I think I'm just more so working out a joke in my mind. Like, imagine like what you said, like 2 wrongs don't make a right. Someone that does happen to a woman, she does have a baby, the baby grows up, and like the mom's just like, you're just like your father, you don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
All right, there's a way to make that funny. Okay, a lot of you are like, that's in poor taste, Chrissie. K-Max, again, thank you. Ann Coulter once said, oh, I can even say it in her voice, no Democrat would ever win if women could not vote. What do Chrissie and Isabella think of Ann Coulter and her comment?
Oh, I love Ann Coulter. Actually, Chrissie, that's how I originally found your podcast and found out about you, because the first time you had Ann Coulter on, I don't know if you've had her on multiple times, but it was like
twice.
Way back in the day. I think like the first time you had her on, that's how I discovered you. And I've always liked Ann Coulter. She's very anti-Trump for good reasons, honestly, but I think she's has a little Trump derangement syndrome lately. However, I love her comments about this. It's absolutely correct. Like, one of the worst things that ever happened for America was women getting the right to vote in 1920. The 19th Amendment is a horrible thing because women overwhelmingly vote for Democrats because they are emotional thinkers, and the left knows how to tug on the emotional heartstrings of women, which is how they get their votes. And I'm sorry, men just know better. And yes, there are stupid liberal men that are pretty much women, but America would be way more conservative if it weren't for women getting the right to vote. Which Republicans did, by the way. So freaking rhinos.
True. And ideally, you would marry someone who was on the same page as you politically and did have the same values. So it's like your vote essentially would be counting for 2 people. So it's not honestly like the worst thing in the world.
No, it would be the best thing in the world.
It would be the best thing in the world. I love it. I love the hot takes. Right. People like, voting is a waste of time. You're literally wasting your time. The first year Obama ran, I did vote for him, but the second year, this was before, I became an adult. The second time he ran, I did not vote at all because I didn't want to miss my yoga class.
Wow, that makes you a double rhino, Chrissie.
Oh, but that was a long time ago, Isabella. My God, so much has changed since then. I had a lot of brainwashing to undo. after college. So I got there eventually. Tell me about your show, Moody with Isabella. It's on Live from America TV. Is that on Censored or is that a different network?
So that's LFA, Live from America, is its own network. I'm close to my microphone. I don't know why I'm a mile away. I do a daily show for an hour, Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And it's basically, I just go over the news and just whatever I want to talk about, but it's great. It's like actually the only uncensored network ever. Like literally one of the other show hosts literally said the N-word, hard R. And my boss was like, great show. Like,
Sounds like Compound Media. Yeah.
Yeah, no, isn't it beautiful to be able to say what you actually want to say? And then, yes, I also do a weekly show on Gavin McGinnis's platform, Censored.tv, where I show my street interviews and I react to them. So I do that weekly as well. So, yeah, running my mouth too much.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. I'm so psyched to hear that you're so busy. I saw that you interviewed James O'Keefe recently. Was that for your Live from America show?
Yes. James. Yeah. Luckily, James is a really good friend of mine, and I've been keeping in contact with him ever since this insane thing that happened at Project Veritas, which still just blows my mind because I don't spend a lot of time with people in the conservative movement, but I have spent some time with the Project Veritas squad, and I know a lot of the people that betrayed him pretty well, and it's just completely shocking to me still. These people are evil, mentally ill, literally calling Trump supporters Antifa and stuff. Like, they're actually going crazy online. Like, these people, I don't know how they tricked all of us, but they did. But yeah, James was nice enough to give me some time for an interview because he is a busy man. He's always busy, but especially right now. But yeah, interviewed him and he's great. He's a real one. He's a real one.
And I am completely on the outside. Like I could definitely, I mean, just with my very basic understanding of what happened, it sounds like basically Project Veritas, like it sounds like everybody betrayed him. Like at one point they were like, oh, you're taking too many black cars, or you're
So
like
racist.
spending too much. All cars matter. Like
Yeah,
what you're spending too much of the company's money. Like even without looking into it very deeply, I was like, oh, this really looks like a setup because he just had this big Pfizer expose come out, and
yeah,
that was very hot.
A week
Yeah.
after Pfizer. And what's funny is so Project Veritas, prior to this incident, every single story that they ever released, you saw the video of the person admitting to it and you heard their voice admitting to it. This was the first expose that they did with zero video or audio evidence. These were just written allegations. So that tells you all that you need to know. And they even post ousting James O'Keefe had tried to smear the Pfizer employee that actually was brave enough to be the whistleblower for Pfizer. That her name's Debbie. She's a really sweet girl who reached out to James, and they, without her permission, were publishing materials of hers that she said that they couldn't, calling her stupid and trying to defame her. So these are the type of people that, you know, James even suspects. He's like, I don't know for sure, but it came right after a week after the Pfizer story. That's very interessante.
How much of Project Veritas, and of course you don't have to name names, but how much of the company do you feel like was working against him? Or to me, it just seemed like they were obviously compromised, because you look at how much money Pfizer has, and you're like, oh, it would be pretty easy, I feel like, for them. And I'm not claiming this is what happened, but a company like that would be very easy for them to pay people off because they don't like bad press. But you figure everyone, when they think of Project Veritas, they think of James O'Keefe. So I was so shocked because I'm because I met him once at the Minds event that I hosted last June. And I was again, I was very impressed by him. He's so dynamic. He's an ass kicker. He's a boss. He's just got such a great presence, and he's truly a leader. And I was just so shocked to see him. How many people do you feel were kind of in on this?
Well, I would say everyone still working at Project Veritas is culpable. They're evil.
Yeah.
They were convinced to do something evil. And there's 16 people that signed the letter, but it's funny because the two ringleaders didn't sign the letter themselves. The memo which listed all the grievances against them because they're both bunch of cuck beta males. But yeah, the two people that were the ringleaders are Matthew Tierman and Gavin Elwes, who I know them pretty well. Gavin was actually attacking me on Twitter for no reason, even though James took some of the people from the NYYRC and myself sailing one time, and Gavin was on the sailboat, and he was so
maybe
nice.
He's an Iggy Azalea fan. Maybe that's why he got triggered.
Maybe. He also, yeah, I mean, who knows? He also compared Trump supporters to Antifa terrorists, like just weird stuff like that. The people that are very pro DeSantis within Project Veritas were the ones that were kind of ousting James, which is very interesting. It's like the DeSimps. And Matthew Tierman, I actually always knew was a snake. He also would always be super nice to my face, but would talk crap about me behind my back. He's also shorter than me, and I'm 5'0". So
Oof.
not really shorter than
tough.
me, but like pretty much.
It's tough to be a vertically challenged man in this day and age.
I know. Just
You
bad
got to
people
make up
in there.
for it. You got to make up for it with your personality and going to the gym and try to make some money, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. But how was your sense of how James is doing now? Did anybody like leave the company to go work with him? Like how did his transition go?
Yeah, so now the people he has around him are really the core ride or dies. R.C. Maxwell, who was his press secretary at Project Veritas, who's a close friend of ours, he left with him, and he's like the black guy you'll see in the videos, like with his new OKeefe media group. He's great. He's always stuck by James's side, and James is actually doing really great, and we agreed that this was weeding out the snakes around him. And he actually always had this vision for more of a grassroots journalism, shipping cameras out to people across the country, and this actually pushed him in the direction of actually fulfilling that, which Project Veritas was kind of holding him back in a way. So in a way, this is only better for him, he thinks, and it's enabling him to do even better. And honestly, the people at Project Veritas are probably seething because they're begging people to keep donating to them. No one trusts them anymore. I haven't seen anyone support Project Veritas. Like everyone's been on James O'Keefe's side.
Really
Yeah,
is
so
gone. And I would get regular mailings from them and like, not a ton of money, but like was like, of course you want to support them because it's him, and
Yeah.
with him gone, I'm like, there's no face there. Like, I don't even know who the money's going to.
Right, exactly. So, and he's running this differently. So Project Veritas was a 501c3, which means that there's a board that can oust him, which is precisely what happened. And now this is like a company. People can sponsor camera equipment that can be sent to people to do this journalism, but there's no board that can attack him. And this is just what happens on boards. Like, I started an animal rescue farm with my mom years ago. I'm no longer a part of it because, shocker, but my online persona probably doesn't sit well with vegans. I know, it's a shocking thing. But her board tried to overtake her too. These people just think that they can run your company better, even though someone like my mom or James built these companies from the ground up. And I believe James O'Keefe started Project Veritas 14 years ago, built it from the ground up. His mentor was Andrew Breitbart. And it's just evil. And I think, I'm not a huge karma person, but I really do think that they're going to have what's coming to them because no one trusts them anymore. And I always say, so I've seen some people say, well, they're exposing school boards still. But if you couldn't trust what they said about James O'Keefe, you can't trust anything coming out of their mouths. And I've talked to James O'Keefe and I've talked to RC, and you cannot trust these people for sure.
Their karma is coming very soon, Chrissy. I have inside info within the next couple of days.
What? Ooh. To who?
I can't release anything else. I'm under contract.
I can't release anything else. I'm just going to be a voice lurking in the background.
Mm-hmm. This could be clickbait, Chrissy.
Right. No, we're not here to do that.
Never.
Only exclusive and true things.
True.
And wow. Okay. Cool. I want to know. So are you guys, I don't know. I would love to see like a husband and wife project, between you and Josiah. I don't know if the gears are turning for something like that.
Well,
like
actually our good friend Lisa Reynolds, I don't know if you follow her on Twitter. You definitely should. It's like Lisa Elizabeth. She's amazing. She has a lot of Twitter spaces. She's our bestie, but she said that we should do like a family sort of page or channel where we do like little skits and show like what the day in the life of like a young trad couple is, because a lot of conservatives like to talk because conservatives.
But where are they? Yeah.
Great. It's like, well, are you guys married? Are you guys having kids? Are you guys doing all these things? And like, we're younger and, so maybe we're going to start doing that. I think we've talked about that. And I think we're going to do that. So stay tuned. The Moody Mafia family edition will be starting.
I would love that because in terms of like people that I follow, it's really like the ballerina farm, which is, she's super rich. I think her husband's side has this huge farm. And it's just her making like mozzarella cheese by hand for 8 hours a day. And like the kids are like getting into it. It's very cute. And then, but in terms of that, like, I don't really know very many other traditional Tradfluencers. Can we make that word?
Oh, I like that. I like that. We just,
Tradfluencers.
it's now a thing officially.
Okay. Yeah. See that I've been trying to break out of just like this StreamYard format too. Fealty thinks Chrissy show tour vlogs would be cool. Yeah, I try to show the green rooms of whatever club I'm doing because oftentimes it's just like a bathroom or like it's very often not a real green room. It's just somewhere with cleaning equipment. So I'm gonna try to like mix it up a little more. Maybe when it gets warmer, like I definitely can't do what Alex Stein does. Like I just loathe confrontation. So unless it's like obviously I'm on stage and it's in front of I'm on a stage where I'm safe. It's in front of a crowd, but like going up to somebody like IRL in New York City, like I might need a little crew with me, but
True.
I do want to think about like mixing it up. But I think a little fan blog or couple blog with you guys would be. I would watch that. That's very cute.
Well, if you would watch it, then we better start it up.
Put cameras on your head. Yeah, just be like, oh, we're shopping for sheets. I don't know what you guys do.
Right.
Like how to clean cum out of a sock, you know?
Ooh. No. Never. And we also have 2 cats now, so people love cats.
What kind of cats do you have?
So we think one of them's an American short hair. They're he's just sleeping on the he's just sleeping on the heated blanket like a little angel right now. It's so cute. His name's Asher. He's like an American short hair, I think. Just a basic stray cat that we got from an animal shelter. And then we also have our girl Sharia, named after Sharia law, like a good woman. The best women follow Sharia law. And she is a rag doll. So she's got some long hair and she's like an Arab queen. That's what she looks like.
I love it. Sounds like a very diverse household.
For sure. People can never call us racist ever again.
No, they cannot. K-Max. Okay, I had to add one more. Both your views on Pearly or just Pearly, the YouTuber. She has similar views on men and women to Isabella. She was in the news recently for deleting a video. I don't know exactly. Is this because she deleted a Nick Fuentes interview that she did? She got some blowback for?
Yeah, I believe so. I tend to really love everything Pearly says. I think she's a really strong voice. However, I'm like, why did she have to bow to the mob on Fuentes? I did think that was a little weak, honestly, but I tend to agree with her. But I'm very like, I don't even know everything Fuentes says, but I'm very pro free speech. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's a little weird. She was like, I didn't know that he was going to say like these racist things, and I'm like, just do one Google search of him, and every single thing racist.
I'll have to see if I can find maybe the episode is still on Rumble or something. But like, yeah, could he have said anything all that different than all the other things he said?
That's what I think. So I think that she has a very like black audience, and they're probably freaking out, and she didn't really know how to handle it. But I was hoping for better from her because she definitely pisses off the feminists with what she says, but maybe it's just a whole. I don't know. Maybe the black people were louder than the feminists. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think I agree with you. I really like her. I think she's very strong and like a good, confident presence online. And I just, of all the times people have tried to cancel me, like I know that just never apologizing is the way to go. And I'd be very curious to hear like what actually was said on that interview that made her feel like deleting it was the best course of action. And it's like, okay, why couldn't you just maybe clip a part out on whatever it is, if it's YouTube, or like clip a part out, re-upload? So maybe I'll hit her up, or just don't. Like, unless it's like, what did he say the N-word? Like, like Gavin said the N-word on my show. You clip it right out, and it's you're good as gold.
Good for Gavin. Good for Gavin. He's a true warrior.
He whipped his dick out on Friday Night Tights a few weeks ago. It caused quite the stir.
I heard. Hey, he's making headlines. I also heard a long time ago he shoved a dildo up his ass on camera. These are crazy things. Okay.
Yeah, he really put the head in headlines that day.
Literally. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people are still pretty upset about it, but I was like, you know what? Gavin's good at Gavin.
True.
Daniel Jagger, does Owen Benjamin and his wife qualify as a tradfluencer couple? Yes, they would. I don't see much of his wife in his content, but I'll occasionally like see a video of him like on the farm, or he'll be like milking a cow, or it's usually just him like looking bearded and rustic.
I don't know who that is. I've heard the name a lot, but I don't follow him, I
He
don't think.
is very interesting. You would really like him. He was like an LA comedian who ended up like one of the OG comedians to get canceled for
Face.
spicy takes, and he kind of just like moved out to what, like Montana or somewhere like way the fuck out, and now has a farm and like 4 or 5 kids or something, and like is very happy but very disconnected from society. I think like he's not,
That's good.
I don't think he's doing very many comedy shows anymore, but he podcasts a lot, and he's a good voice. He's a strong voice.
Cool. I'll have to look him up.
Check him out. Well, I'm so excited for you, Isabella. I'm so happy to hear you're in love. I can't wait to see what you guys have planned for the content. I think we definitely could use some more tradfluencers. And yeah, where can people follow you and watch you and all that good stuff?
Okay, so Twitter at Isabella Riley US, Instagram. My main Instagram was banned, so I have to build up another Instagram, which I know you dealt with too. So it's very annoying. But my Instagram is Isabella Riley Moody 2.0. And then you can find me on censor.tv weekly. And then you also can find me on Rumble. That's at LFA TV. And my show is Moody with Isabella, Monday through Fridays, 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. I also have a YouTube channel. I don't post on it as much since I've started my daily show. However, I'm going to get back at it better than ever. You better believe it. And that's just, I think it's at Isabella Riley USA. I got to change that name.
Aw.
But yeah.
So you're changing all your names everywhere? That's cute.
Yes, of course. Of course.
I love it. Hashtag trad life.
So true.
Loving it. She's walking the walk, guys. And
Mhm.
she's talking the talk. She's doing it all. Follow Isabella if you're not already. Just so happy to talk with you. So proud of you.
Thank you. So fun talking to you, Chrissy.
Everything's great. Everything's just
So
great.
So true.
Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you to everybody in the chat, and we will see you